love, I'm Sharr Smith, intuitive energy alchemist and spiritual teacher. Welcome to Journey to Self, an emotional wellness and self-discovery podcast here to ask the powerful questions so you can reveal the true potential that exists in all things for yourself, like your life, your business, and your manifestations. Journey to Self is your reliable resource for learning how to adapt and overcome. Each episode, we cover topics that allow you to hold space for yourself and pay attention to where your thoughts are building momentum. This is so you can take control and transmute the energies of stress, anxiety, and even burnout and begin to create a happy, healthy, and balanced life.
All right, let's go ahead and dive into this thing. So first things first, yesterday, if you were attending the live, again, thank you. But yesterday, if you were attending the live, I presented the idea or concept of developing your backbones for being disliked. The reason for this is because the more that you develop your backbones for being disliked, the more likely it is that you will have more genuine connections that you can trust and believe in, okay? So as empathic souls, we are such great givers. It just comes natural, and it's just really not something that we have to think about generally, right? Until there's a pattern or an issue of people taking advantage and we wind up with the shitty end of the stick, drowning in things like burnout and energy drain. We've all been there, right? You try to satisfy everyone and still end up with people being mad at you, or even worse, you find yourself being met with people saying stuff along the lines of, oh, you didn't do enough, right? Prime example, I had a particular group of individuals that were perfectly fine as long as I was bending over backwards, putting forth all the effort to maintain connection and showing up without question to support whatever the hell it was that they had going on for them, their immediate family, etc. I'm talking about funerals and all, okay? But the moment that I needed to take that time, energy, and attention and pour it into myself to navigate things like deep grief from losing my own family members and grieving the life that I thought I would have, dealing with depression from envying the dead, and having to shed one identity while fundamentally building a new one without warning, like that's when the shit hit the fan and I was met with a lack of accountability, gaslighting, and just a lot of playing in my face like I wasn't already aware of what was going on, and that the energy and communication and presence had changed despite me communicating on multiple occasions what I was going through, okay? And the more I sat with the reality of them not showing up to reciprocate the support, consideration, or compassion in any capacity, because let's be real, you can't expect you out of other people, meaning you hope that people will show some concern and some reciprocation, but you don't expect for it to be in the same way or specific capacity that you yourself would do it. You just also don't expect that you'd be met or left with nothing and no one there when you need them, right? But the more that I sat with the reality of them not reciprocating at all, the more that I began to realize something. It's not that I didn't do enough or that I wasn't doing enough. What people are actually mad at is the fact that somebody else beat them to the punch and got dibs on my energy, time, and or money, even if that somebody else was me. And when the emotional intelligence is lacking or people are just used to getting their way, they will take retribution in any way, shape, form, or fashion that they can to get a rise out of you and to make you fall back in line. Every time a conversation was had, the blame was placed on me for acting weird or whatever in that capacity, right? But what was actually happening or what was really going on is that I was valuing myself more and I stopped playing about me. But that's what happens when people aren't used to you calling them out on their bullshit. They lack accountability and try to place blame and responsibility where it doesn't belong. Again, it's not that you aren't doing enough or that you didn't do enough. People just be mad at the fact that somebody else beat them to the punch and got dibs on your energy, time, and or money, and that somebody else just happened to be you. So when you change the way that you enter into relationships, aka energetic exchanges, because that's all relationships actually are, okay? So when you change the way that you enter into relationships and stop tying your ability to connect with others to self-sacrifice and instead lead with the inspiration of your own needs, that's when you're able to relax and ease into genuine, authentic connections without worrying about what parts of yourself you'll have to abandon just to keep the relationships going, okay? something that I say to myself or remind myself whenever I need it is if it requires me to sacrifice my mental, emotional, physical, and or even financial well-being, I don't fucking want it, okay? So now let's look at exactly how you're going to reclaim your power, set your energetic boundaries, and forge these authentic connections. So the first thing that you are going to do is look at why people emotionally seek you out. You can locate this for yourself inside your human design chart. And if you need help, there's a self-guided option to get you started inside the Empathic Human Design Guide available on my website. Or if you want access to my specific energetic clarity with a full breakdown of this inside your chart, then you need to book a focus and flow reading. Again, the link for that will be available for you below, or just go to my website. Anyway, knowing why people emotionally seek you out is going to give you clarity on what to leverage and what you need to protect with boundaries in your relationships. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is that we're talking about, okay? So for example, with my particular energy, people are emotionally seeking me out or coming to me because they want to be understood and know how to get others to understand them clearly. They're also looking for or wanting emotional intelligence via emotional truth and emotional clarity. So they're looking to understand how to control their emotions and the vulnerability required to sustain intimacy in their relationships. Again, it doesn't matter what type of relationship it is. Essentially, they're coming to me looking for me to answer the question of, am I tripping or am I right for feeling this way? Another thing that people come to me or emotionally seek me out for is that they want help identifying, understanding, and navigating the lessons of the emotional experiences and loops that they find themselves in or having, so that they can figure out and understand how to expand and succeed in life and or achieve or reach whatever goal it is they have at the time that they come to me. Okay. So again, I figured all this out using my human design, specifically learning about my human design empath type and how I'm wired to feel, transmute, and alchemize energy and mirror emotional energy. Okay. The next thing that you'll want to do is establish supportive yet adaptive boundaries. And so using the same example from before, the emotional boundaries I have to have are around my capacity for compassion without self-abandonment. So the way that I share, invest, and give access to my spiritual gifts and emotional clarity, as well as the capacity and terms on which I give people access to my presence and listening ear, because people automatically feel relaxed and at ease in my energy by hearing my voice and just having me around. I'm quite literally a muse and anchor for stillness. In other words, I'm the calm in the midst of the chaos. And so people are looking to me or looking for access to me to be able to tap into a sense of calm and stability when shit is haywire in their lives. Okay. So this means that if I'm not careful, it's easy to enter energetic exchanges, aka relationships, where I'm not being properly compensated for the clarity, solutions, and certainty that people automatically get just from being in and around my energy to process their emotions and vulnerabilities. So you can see how quickly things can spiral and foster people pleasing, or how easily things can flow in your benefit to empower genuine and authentic connections when you have the right boundaries in place and know what those boundaries need to be. Okay. Now, the adaptive piece regarding your boundaries is about leaving room for you to adjust the terms and conditions, if you will, of the boundaries that you set and or need in accordance with your own growth, evolving identity, and ever-changing wants, needs, and desires. Okay? You need to give yourself the space, time, and opportunity to observe and assess what it is that your specific energy needs and what will and or won't work for you in that particular space, around people, places, and things, like whatever the scenario or situation actually is. Okay. This is why self-discovery and self-awareness are so fucking important. The next thing that's going to help you reclaim your power and set these energetic boundaries and forge these authentic connections is having the balls to say no, both when you don't want to do something and when you sense some shit doesn't align up front. So like not second guessing the energy or the intuitive insight that you're getting that something is off and it's not going to be good for you, right? Because we as empaths are so damn compassionate and always want to be compassionate towards others, it's easy to get caught up in the negative self-talk and the self-abandoning of what if this hurts their feelings, or what if they don't agree, or what if they don't like what I have to say, what I want, or what I need. The thing here is that you will never be able to appeal to or appease everyone. And like I stated at the beginning, it's never about you not having done enough. It's about whether or not you will allow other people to have first dibs on your fucking energy in whatever form it may be. Time, money, presence, whatever. Okay? Where your own discernment is going to come in at is in your ability and free will to fucking say no without tying it to having it mean something specific about how compassionate you are or are not. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Where your own discernment comes in at is in your ability and free will to fucking say no without tying it to having it mean something specifically about how compassionate you are and or are not. Okay, other people have no limitations on how much of your time, energy, and or money they can take, and they will keep harvesting and siphoning your three most precious resources, aka your time, your energy, and your money, until there is nothing left, or you decide to say no and set the necessary boundaries. Okay, so again, when you change the way you enter into relationships, aka energetic exchanges, and stop tying your ability to connect with others to self-sacrifice, and instead lead with the inspiration of your own needs, that's when you're able to relax and ease into authentic connections where both parties involved are supported and being poured into without you having to worry about what parts of yourself you'll have to abandon and reject just to keep the relationship going, or for the shitty ass illusion of connection, false connection. Okay? If today's conversation is resonating with you, your next step is to explore the healing pathways and portals available to help you break this emotional loop so that you can stop feeling like you have to avoid people and have genuine connections that hold space for you to be relaxed and supported even when you have to say no. Okay? The first portal, again, is the Empath Human Design Guide, and this will teach you more about why people emotionally seek you out and the specific boundaries you and your specific energy require. This works even if you struggle with not being able to switch off your desire to help others, okay? The link will be available for you in the description box below or the show notes below, depending upon where you're listening. The second portal is Thriving in the Shadows, and this will tell you the emotional wound that other people sense within you because your energy speaks well before you even enter the room. Okay, so this is going to tell you the emotional wound that other people sense within you and they use to trigger you into self-sacrifice and people-pleasing, whether it's conscious or not for them. Okay, it's also going to show you exactly what healing that wound looks like for you according to your own energy, rewire the beliefs causing toxic relationships to keep appearing in your life so that you can sense them before it's too late. And it's also going to help you to restore your ability to forge those authentic connections. Okay, this is going to work for you, even if you have a hard time saying no, and even if you feel like it's not safe for you to express how you feel about different things yet. Okay, again, the link is going to be located for you in the description box and or in the show notes, depending upon where you're listening to today's podcast. All right, my loves, thank you so much for being here and sharing this moment of empowerment and emotional clarity with me. I will see you in the next soul transmission. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Journey to Self, your number one resource for emotional wellness and self-discovery, helping you learn how to adapt and overcome. Scroll down, press play, and meet me in the next episode. Bye, love.